Hey guys, Chris Fix here.
Wrong channel, my bad. Alright, so first we're going to start off by getting the car on all 4 lifting points. Alright, so then we're going to start lifting the car, and we're going to make sure the car's stable on the lift. So we're going to start pushing it at around like 1 foot in the air, and then we're going to keep going up. Now, many people may not have a lift at home, but you can use a floor jack or a scissor jack. Scissor jacks come with most cars and are located in the trunk. So now we're going to set the lift on locks, but if you're using something like a floor jack or a scissor jack, you're going to want to use jack stands. So here we're grabbing a 19mm socket and an impact gun, and we're just busting all 5 of those lugs out. Your car may have 4, 5, or 6 lugs. Once you get them all out, you're going to want to take the wheels off. Now we're going to be taking out both the caliper pins on the top and the bottom. This Mazda, the caliper pins are 17mm, so I'm going to be using a 17mm wrench. Now all we have to get is this bottom bolt, and the caliper should be free. Now we're going to free the caliper from the assembly. Although I haven't done that here, but I suggest you put the clip through the bolt hole and then mount that onto the suspension. And now we're down to the brake pads. Let's take her out real quick. Alright, let's look at the back. Nice. You see that imprint is from the caliper being in contact with the brake pad for so many years. And we're going to get the back one out real quick too. We're having a hard time, so we're going to get a flathead and just pry it out. And there it is. Now we're going to grab an 18mm, then we're going to use an impact to buzz off those caliper bracket bolts. And there we go. Now, not all cars are going to have this, but we're going to have to remove a Phillips head screw from the rotor. So as you can see, this car has 2 right here. The only real reason they're on here is so it doesn't fall on production line workers. As you can see here, we shear off the head of the screw. This car is pretty rusty and old, so I'm not surprised that happened. But if this happens to you, don't really panic, because it's not going to serve any real disadvantage to your car's functionality. Alright, so now we got the rotors and brake pads off the car. We're going to measure them real quick. So I'm going to burn an inch on this tape measure real quick. And we get around 12 inches. We're at 13, but since I burned an inch, we're at 12. Now we're going to move on to the brake pads. These should be the same size, but I'll measure out both of them. This one is at about 4.5 inches. Let's do the other one real quick. Yep, this one's also at 4.5 inches. So putting the rotor back on and the caliper bracket back on is essentially the same process, just reversed. So we're going to skip that. So here we're decompressing the brake caliper pistons, so we'll be able to fit those new brake pads on. Although we're not going to be putting new brake pads on this car because it's a shop car, and this video is for demonstration purposes. Now when you're decompressing this caliper piston, you're going to want to get both of the pistons to about the same height. And now it's ready to go back onto the brake assembly. So now we're putting both of the caliper pins back in, and this just snaps right in place. We're going to impact that on there real quick. And done. Now we have to get this lower caliper pin back into the assembly. There we go. Impact that on. Now don't forget to torque these to their specific specs. And it's on. Now you want to mount the tire back into the car and hand thread your lugs in. Once you've gotten all of those on there, you're going to want to take an impact to all of your lugs in a star-shaped pattern. And in order to torque the wheels on your car, you're going to want to lower your car right onto the wheels, so when you're torquing them down, your wheels don't spin. And the average car torque spec on the wheels are about 100 pounds, but you're going to want to check. And finally, don't forget to depress your brake pedal since we reset the brake caliper pistons, and always make sure to test your brakes before driving on